Welcome back to the World Championship Series here in Leipzig, Germany, where the only thing that makes you more uncomfortable than that statue during the break is the amazing feeling of the tension of these StarCraft 2 games that we have witnessed today. Welcome back. I'm Nathanius, joined by Todd and Zombie Grub. Agree or disagree, Todd? The tension's been rising.
Actually, yeah, the only thing that makes me more uncomfortable is the fluff in your hair. That's it.
I tried. I don't know. I did the best that I could, you know? Zombie Grub, talk to me.
I think your hair looks perfect, Nate.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's exactly what I needed to hear right now. I hope that you're all having a great hair day as we get ready to move into our final round of 16 match. We've had a lot of great games so far today, but wait, there's more, a whole lot more. This is like the halfway mark now as we get into this next series. It's going to be a Terran versus Terran, perhaps some cardboard box battling of Cyclones smacking against each other. We shall see. uThermal going up against SpeCial, formerly known as Major, for those of you who've been watching StarCraft for many years now.
Can't wait for that. Cyclones just like mashing into each other. It's great. Actually, we've been seeing some not Cyclone TVT.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, memes aside, I think that it should be a good one. I know I've talked to some people that said that SpeCial should just have it, like it's his. And I'm like, I don't know, like uThermal's pretty good. He seems to be like really good, like in a really good mental place, and his physical results are matching it. So I have faith in uThermal.
Everyone's hyping him up, Todd.
Yeah, the thing is, when you count out uThermal, that's really when he comes out gun swinging, quite literally, with some Reapers and stuff in there, but SpeCial obviously very dangerous, very good with mech. If we were to see some mech against Bio, or even mech against mech, like he's the guy you can count on to really deliver on some of these games. The fact that it's best of 5 and we have new maps definitely could affect that as well. And I mean, again, uThermal is one of those guys where, like, when you expect him to do well, like the least, he will come out and he will deliver and play some fantastic series.
Yeah, I mean, the story of that result that we always see brought up now, his Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai performance, where he came in as a replacement player and beat Need in the grand finals.
I think even Leipzig 2 years ago, I don't think he was particularly expected to do that well, especially not against Protoss, and he was crazy back then, remember?
Yeah,
he was playing his own style.
Who shot SCVs and Marines.
Yeah, the turrets back at home and the push against like the Stargate openers, and he was just like killing people left and right with it.
Yeah, those were some scary days.
Those were some Terran winning days up until T-Drogo put an end to it.
Up until Drogo put an end to it. Yeah, so that TVT is coming up. I think it makes for a great match, though. You make an excellent point bringing up SpeCial's ability to play mech. Since we've seen so many Cyclone openings these days, it's something that we cannot dismiss. SpeCial played very well, had an awesome performance.
I wasn't gonna say nothing, but
what is this?
He was really working it with the cameraman, huh? He's just SpeCial is feeling himself this weekend. What can we say?
It's already pretty questionable, I feel, when people are pointing towards their logos.
It's just, you know, just getting a little bit of that excitement going. Just feeling it this weekend is SpeCial, and he should be, because he played very well last year. 2017, we talked about SpeCial a whole lot. Had some great upsets at the global finals. You know, his playoff performance, it came out first place in his group. Nobody expected that versus the best Koreans in the world.
Beating TY and stats, like, it doesn't really get any better than this. Like, obviously, like, he ended up falling to Su, but pre-final Su.
I mean,
come on.
Yeah. If Su's not in the grand finals, you don't want to run up against him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough match to call, honestly, but especially because I feel like I don't know what they are playing in their TVT. Cyclone meta has been around for, what, like 2 months now, but some people were late to the meta, to be honest, and now they're like, oh, Cyclones, yeah, cool. And some people hate it so much that even if they do think it's okay, they don't want to do it. I feel like...
If we think of the new maps, though, I don't think mech would be too bad on, like, most of them, right?
Well, I feel like oftentimes it's not like that they want to get to mech is why they start off with Cyclones. I think it's because they don't want to die to Cyclones.
Cyclones. But I mean, like, from Cyclone going into mech, usually, like, mech is very map dependent. How is it easy to take a third base, secure it, not get overrun all over the place by Medivac boost and all that?
It's true.
It's a good question. At least the 2 cents that I'll throw in is a lot of these players, you know, Terran players are known for usually microing a lot. The Cyclone is a unit that performs best when not microed. So you do see a lot of players try to avoid it. And speaking of our players, we are ready to go to the stage for Anna to introduce our Terran players. Ready to get some TVT action going?
I am, you know, and Nathanius, it was interesting that you brought up that SpeCial used to go by the name Major. Fun fact, he actually went by Anna Prosser for a very brief time and took my name to the top of ladder.
And how do you feel about that?
Dude, either of these players, I would be happy to let them use my name and claim their results as my own, because this is going to be an amazing TVT. We have arguably the best North American Terran and the best European Terran, and they are here to fight for you. Are you ready to watch it? Me too. Please welcome your players, SpeCial and uThermal.
SpeCial, I like that Anna brought that up. He's gone by many names.
Yeah, when is he gonna smurf as Nathanius?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to see that. You know, Balloon did that once. Balloon had the Nathanius account on Korea, took it to top of GM. I got some very weird messages from people.
He played random.
He played random.
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
right?
Needs to be special. Yeah,
We need to rank one Nathanius on the name.
maybe someday. But SpeCial, I mean, he's a player that's been around forever. We've always talked about his best results in the old days when he went by the name of Major, especially in like WCS America times, were always TVT against Koreans. And it would be something like he beat Tasia decisively, and then he would end up playing Tasia in like a rematch, something like that, and then lose. But he would always get his biggest results, especially against the Korean players. But a lot of TVT. uThermal is a player that has kind of been like a bit of the ups and downs. Wasn't like the hallmark Terran of last year when we talk about foreign Terrans that went to SpeCial and Kelazar. But we know that he's great. We know he has the potential. And everybody, at least that I've spoken to so far this weekend, says that he's a player to look out for.
Yeah, SpeCial was consistent last year, but not at the absolute top of the WCS circuit. Remember, he barely sneaked into that top 8 to make the global finals, and it was out of his hands at the end. He even tweeted like, guys, like if I make it, I'm gonna train so hard, which he did.
Yeah.
Got him a top 4 at the global finals, but I'm sure that this year he would love not to be in that position again, and this time have his fate in his own hands with some deeper runs and maybe even a win here. Like when I looked at the bracket yesterday and I saw his name down there, you know, in the bottom part, I was like, this is actually a pretty good bracket for him. If he can play his A game, maybe he can take it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, he did usually end up running into Neeb in the brackets last year. Something important to note, SpeCial will not have to do that if he can make, at least before hitting the finals in a theoretical sense. The players are ready. It's time to jump into this game. TVT, it's uThermal versus SpeCial.
All right, guys, we get ourselves our first TVT on stage here between two of these heavyweights. The best NA Terran against the best European Terran. Wardy, thoughts on this series?
Well, it's going to be an interesting one, and I heard a bit of a funny story just before as well. I was talking to Neve, and I was just saying, you know, how's your day? You know, you just won your match, you're feeling good? And he's like, yeah, but these Terran players, they keep bugging me for TVT practice because they can't find any practice partners. So apparently these guys have not had much luck trying to warm up for this one, as we are getting into this in the next few moments. But honestly, I'm extremely excited because this could be maybe the matchup of the day already, because I really think these two are very evenly matched. They're both enjoying TVT lately as well, so well, could be anything.
I personally favor this guy a little bit, and this is Mexico's SpeCial! The highest placing foreigner in the global finals ever.
Top 4, what a performance that was for him. As we have to the bottom right-hand side, here on Catalyst, the red Terran player, it's uThermal!
This Dutch Terran has been a staple of StarCraft 2 scene for so long. You and I know him quite well.
Yeah.
I've had a good amount of time with him. He's a lovely, lovely fella. And he's had a really good mentality towards the game lately. Just as he mentioned, every single matchup he feels he's quite, you know, not super amazing at, but not super bad at either. He's like, you know, I don't have a super strong matchup or a super weak matchup, which makes him a bit of a jack of all trades. Whereas SpeCial, I mean, whenever I think about him, I think about the fact that he's spent a lot of time in Korea, that's basically the best place for your VT practice, whatever race you play. It's the best Terrans in the whole world. Come from that region, no arguments there. And SpeCial, He's taken out his the TYs on stage in the GSL. Like this is a guy that's no stranger to this matchup and no stranger to winning them on the big stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, he took out Terran players over at BlizzCon too, right? So he really is one of the very best. Now, the desk was saying they're not sure if we're going to see Cyclones here. I can pretty much promise there is going to be Cyclones in this series. uThermal has been loving that meta. He played it from the very first day. In fact, he was the first non-Korean Terran to be picking that up. And he really has just stuck with it as well. And he's been liking playing a bit of mech lately. There's been some bio mixed in. I mean, this series really could just be a bit of everything.
And Todd mentioned it, that SpeCial has been known to mech from time to time in TVT as well, and do it to a masterful level as well. One of the best Terrans in the entire planet. And we're just having a pretty regular opening for both players because gas first. Double gas is actually for both players, so they may actually both be going for the Cyclone build.
It's a very standard thing to see here on Catalyst because it's a bit of a shorter rush distance. It's not as large as maps such as Violet Square, for example, Ascension to Aya, that will be perhaps seeing points and so on. And well, Blackpink, as you see the Reaper fight here starting up as uThermal pulls away over the left-hand side, and he is able to keep that alive. Just about, and losing your first Reaper can actually have a lot of repercussions in the TVT because of how few units you have early, and he just dodges away. Wow, that was nice for him because he means he'll get the full heal. Now, actually, maybe he can outnumber this Reaper 2-1 because SpeCial is across the map.
He certainly is. This might be a little bit too deep for the Mexican Terran. The other Reaper coming in from the north, and he does get it. And that is the map control of the Mexican Terran gone here. He has that Cyclone, which is a big boy to keep that ramp alive, and the main is walled off with those depots. So perhaps the Reaper's not going to be able to find an opening after all.
But this is still where it gets dangerous. Like 2 Reapers against 1 with the Cyclone on each side can still very quickly turn things around. But that wasn't the moment there for uThermal. Trying to get high ground vision early, but SpeCial picks off one of the Reapers. Now it isn't even fighters. We're going to see a Cloak Banshee follow-up actually from uThermal, so not going to go full on into Cyclones just yet. Not reactoring them out 2 at a time. But that does look to be what SpeCial's doing. No starport here means he hasn't got anything else to spend his gas on other than Cyclones.
Yeah, and I mean, actually it looks like his low ground CC was delayed there, whereas uThermal's still chilling on one base for now, just about to try and drop that that natural. Oh, this is looking contained from SpeCial. Very annoying for uThermal to have to deal with.
Yeah, this first Cyclone of uThermal's taking a lot of damage here, and that's where things can get scary. You lose one of those Cyclones, and suddenly your opponent just hugely out-damages you in the fights. Things can go very badly wrong from there very quickly.
So this is a really cool play from uThermal. These Cloak Banshees have a window to do some damage. We see that SpeCial is getting that engineering base, so we can make turrets back at home. But his only anti-air without that starport is Cyclones. And you can break that lock-on with the Cloak if they're out of detection range.
Yeah, what's really great as well is that the first 2 Cyclones of SpeCial are still across the map here, although he's about to run into that Banshee before Cloak is finished, and that's going to be goodbye. Even preemptively scans just in case the Cloak does come down to do that thing you mentioned before, which is to cancel the lock-on. We'll see uThermal continue to push, but obviously with 2 Cyclones up that ramp that he knows about, he could not actually go up there.
That is such a huge pick-off there for SpeCial. And this one Reaper of uThermal still being annoying in the middle line, not finding tons of damage. But still, I mean, these first 2 Cyclones are coming down. They're going to get rid of it now. No big drama here, so not a ton of damage. Still continuing to make Banshees back at home as uThermal. Looks like number 3.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Banshees continue to come out. I wonder if it's just because he wants to make sure those Cyclones can't just mass up and push across the map, because he has to have some anti-air back at home. Goes into his own reacted factory now, uThermal, so you will be able to get that opportunity going where after he goes for this. This is 6 Cyclones against 3. There is no way uThermal pushes into this. Yes, there's a Banshee in the sky, but it doesn't do that much damage. This is about to be a scan, isn't it? SpeCial sees it, he locks on. That is a very quickly dead Banshee.
Certainly is. And he's pulling up scans on those CCs as SpeCial decides he has enough Cyclones to get the job done here, and he moves across the map. Of course, the units of uThermal, apart from the Banshees are pretty much his only answer against these Cyclones, but if SpeCial stores those scans, he should have no problem whatsoever. This Banshee getting away, has those high ground, actually has to pull back because this is a very, very severe attack from SpeCial. Ooh, that high ground helping him out a ton.
That's actually a 3 Cyclone right there, although that's another Banshee, and uThermal is just getting nothing done with these, yet he's still making them. Meanwhile, both players going up to a third command center here, but uThermal is in position, so he has to defend this point, and he doesn't have enough Cyclones right now. If this was a cancel, that would be huge in favor of SpeCial, of course. uThermal a bit of in and out, of course, so far, just figuring out, hey, okay, I can poke while he focuses the CC, but look how much damage those Cyclones do.
And nice micro from SpeCial as well, pulling back those hurt Cyclones, using his overwhelming numbers to try and come through, but the reinforcement uThermal, oh my god! He takes a wonderful engagement, and the third will finish.
1 Cyclone for 6 Maynard, that is efficiency. Wow, what a set of micro that was. And the third base finishes. That could not have gone better for our Dutch Terran player here to turn around all of those lost Banshees.
A massive play from uThermal. He's always been known for how great his micro has been. That's why he was so dominant in TVZ for so long. His control is impeccable. Oh man, what a start. After such a rocky opening with these Banshees, really not putting in much work for him at all. That was like another one dead here.
He's still making Banshees, and yet not a single one of them. I mean, okay, he's forcing scans, right? But one scan per Banshee is not really a massive issue from SpeCial side of things. He has got his own third CC up. What's interesting is the third CC of SpeCial coming in over on the left-hand side, by the way. So that's kind of a bit different to uThermal taking the more normal third base just along the bottom of the map. I wonder what that means for SpeCial. I wonder how he plays it out from there.
Well, we are seeing mech versus mech here, but it's a very mobile mech versus mech. It's just Cyclones against each other right now. With the Banshees, of course, for uThermal, whereas SpeCial just going down the pure Cyclone path.
uThermal's going to get in a position between the natural and the third base, and now SpeCial has to attack up into him, but uThermal actually has more Cyclones right away, and the damage output is really good for him, and he's going to get the first kills, and now he heavily outnumbers SpeCial, and he's making progress towards that third base. SCVs are pulled in to help. Now the Banshee comes in, and there isn't an answer from SpeCial, because he doesn't have any Cyclones left, and uThermal is doing so much work and damage here.
GG. Wow, uThermal. Not even this series, but a lot of people, but the control of that third base was the MVP play there. The clutched Cyclone control, and SpeCial not having enough in the end. I mean, his first Banshee, third Banshee, fourth Banshee didn't get the job done, but that fifth one, that was the one. that was the one that got the job done.
Apparently, the secret to TVT is just sacrificing 4 Banshees to the Terran gods, and then they'll gift you a godlike micro.
Just a 4 Banshee blood sacrifice. That's all you need. Get himself a win on Catalyst against the highest placing foreigner, one of the best Terrans in the entire world, not only the non-Korean community. So great start here for uThermal.
I just can't get over that fight on the third base. Like, I thought he was doing it well, buying time, keeping the third base alive a bit longer, but there was no way I thought that third base was finishing. And there was no way I thought all of those Cyclones of SpeCial were going to get killed off as well.
Yeah, 6 versus 4 there, something like that.
I mean, I don't try and do math too often, Maynard, but when I do, 6 usually is bigger than 4. But it wasn't in that fight, as we're going to be seeing. SpeCial is retaping his mouse mat to the desk right now. Maybe that's what went wrong for him there, is get ready for game number 2. Our full map order here. Map number 2 will be Blackpink, another fairly standard map that we know from the previous map pool. Then we're going to get into some of the new maps. Acid Plant for map 3, Backwater for map 4, which will be a huge one. But man, if we go to map 5, Abiogenesis, now that will be interesting with 2 players who are not afraid to throw down proxies, be aggressive, and play on one base.
Yeah, I mean, uThermal's control, I've been mentioning it earlier, sort of like a European beyond. His control's been incredible. He was one of the flagship Terrans to that mass Reaper style when it was all in fashion, proxy Reaper style. That's it is all about these boxes with wheels at the moment. That's Cyclone play.
Wheels, indeed it is. As we get into Blackpink here, the thing is, I don't think SpeCial even needs to change anything up. This was going great for him. He dealt with the Banshees very well. He's putting on very good pressure. He just needs to be a little bit more on top of some of that micro. And this should be very good for him as we get into game number 2 here on Blackpink.
Yes, indeed. Currently down on 1 in the series in the top right here. This is SpeCial.
And down to the bottom left-hand side, our Team Liquid player looking for a team kill in the round of 8 potentially. It is the Red Terran, uThermal.
That's right, he could be hitting his brother-in-arm Snoop down there, depending on how he does.
And that would be one heck of a matchup, because those guys have actually played quite a bit recently. But hey, let's not get into that right now. That's still a couple games away here for uThermal. And we can see by the way that last game started that SpeCial is definitely capable of taking leads in this series.
SpeCial with a little bit of a later gas here. uThermal getting his immediately. But we're seeing no 17 gas go drop down for uThermal, so this is looking like fast expand builds for both players.
Yep. 1 gas means that generally you're looking for that Reaper expand. SpeCial's here is a little bit more kind of economic focused. uThermal will get a bit of a factory off of this, which means that maybe he can still follow up with a Cyclone. we will see exactly what they want to do very soon. But this is a lot more normal on Blackpink. You know, Catalyst has that no ramp up into the natural. It's a fairly short rush distance, natural to natural. Here on Blackpink, you have that ramp. It's a bit larger, and so you can get away with the command center while getting units out to defend if your opponent does play the double gas in the early game.
And we're seeing SpeCial's first SCV coming down here quite early versus the SCV Scout of uThermal, so is able to block that CC for a little while. Meanwhile, SpeCial drops his on location.
uThermal's not going to let it go for free, though. He is actually going to attack that SCV, and he forces it away. I mean, very slightly, but a little bit of back and forth there on the command center build times. We're going to see the first Reapers popping in immediately into a Marine here for SpeCial, so you can afford that factory. Whereas uThermal will go for a second Reaper and the factory just due to that gas Rax play rather than Rax gas.
So this is looking like double Reaper and a Hellion here for uThermal, while SpeCial going for just a single Reaper means he's going to give up a little bit of map control, but is going to have that quicker factory just by a few seconds. Like, marginal differences here for both players.
Yeah, really very little difference at all. I think the one big thing would be if uThermal was able to pick off a Reaper or a Marine early, it could go quite well for him. From there, as actually uThermal might be the one losing the Reaper, trying to get aggressive. He will lose an SCV for that attempt. Not the end of the world. It was already across the map and wasn't really doing much mining. The nice thing for uThermal is he sees the Marine, so he knows it's not two Reapers and he knows he can, again, maybe be further aggressive now that his second Reaper comes out. And he goes into a Hellion right away as well, not really maybe afraid of a fast Cyclone or anything.
Yeah, two Reapers with a Hellion are actually surprisingly effective against the early game light units in TVT. Very, very standard here from uThermal. As he gets his Starport Tech Lab down as well. Oh, coming up the ramp, trying to get the pickoffs, and he does. Wow, uThermal with these two Reapers winning the battle here. SpeCial has to give up the natural with his workers.
Oh, uThermal has to be very careful with that low health Reaper, but he is going to get up the ramp leading with the higher health one, and he is going to go up here, and he is going to get the Reaper kill, which means one more SCV as well. And uThermal, again, early game micro is just excelling at the moment.
Incredible control from uThermal. SpeCial, wow, that is a quick third CC here from the Mexican Terran. Gonna try and wall off that Reaper jump up path here, but that is very bold here. He's starting to pump out those Cyclones now, but still hasn't completely secured this natural. Remember, there is a Hellion for uThermal on the way as well.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing that Cyclone coming down the ramp as the Hellion for uThermal arrives. The Cyclone really is just such a massive turnaround point of this. As we see, uThermal will invest into the Raven, and that's maybe not going to have a lot of effect here immediately, but as the game goes by and it builds up energy, those interference matrices, they will allow you to push into positions, they will allow you to take down a couple of Cyclones from a fight and just turn things on its head. Now, you mentioned that fast free CC as well from SpeCial. It's pretty standard when you only have like the factory, right? Because if you're only massing up Cyclones, you're very limited by build time and gas. So that free CC is, you know, somewhat expected here. uThermal is actually throwing down an Engineering Bay and Viking and so on. This is a great spell from SpeCial though.
Yeah, gets a lot, big look at the main there of uThermal, sees the Raven as well. uThermal just getting that Viking out just to make sure he can deal with any kind of drop player if there was a potential Banshee. He hasn't actually seen anything as far as SpeCial's tech goes since the early stages of that game when his Reapers got up the ramp.
SpeCial. Two Cyclones. Cyclones are just so good against all the other early game units unless you really outmass them or outnumber them. So that's why SpeCial will be just so very safe here. Unless uThermal loops all the way around, but even then there's going to be more Cyclones popping at home from SpeCial. As uThermal will not really find an opening. He does start +1 weapons, uThermal, so he's going to play a bit of Marine tank this time, as SpeCial is going to play the mech, and so we're going to get that classic kind of mashup of the TVT mech versus Bio here for game 2.
Really cool to see. Bio tank can actually do really, really great against the Cyclones, but when it gets up into the proper, quote-unquote, proper mech stages, when the tanks start to come out, when the Hellions start to come out with Blue Flame, then the Bio starts to lose a little bit of punch. But it is so mobile, and it comes down to how well your multitasking control is, and we've seen nothing but impeccable multitasking control from uThermal so far in the series.
Yeah, I think uThermal is maybe one of the most fun Terran players to watch against mech because he will be everywhere. He will be kind of splitting one Marine forward to soak that first tank shot, and he will not be afraid to be dropping, fighting, and just doing whatever he can. What is scary, though, is that SpeCial already has that third CC while playing mech against the Bio, and so uThermal will be falling behind in work, can behind in economy, and that's not where you want to be as the Bio player.
Reapers coming down here trying to spot that third. They haven't been able to just yet. They're splitting up now. The Hellions will be able to chase down and kill at least one. The other going to go down to the south here. And SpeCial getting those armories down at the start. They're getting the tank production happening already, so he's just done with Cyclones in this game by the looks of things.
uThermal looks as though he's just going to push aggressively off of 5 barracks here, maybe with combat shields finishing up in about 2 or 3 minutes time, because he's just not building a third CC, and the longer he delays that, the more he has to do damage with this initial push. But doing it against mech, that's not going to be easy because with multiple siege tanks out, it really limits your options when it comes to pushing into certain positions. The one thing that could be weak for SpeCial is if he tries to hold the free bases too early, maybe the tanks are too spread out, and maybe that's where that 4th and 5th Rax player can come in and be very strong. SpeCial didn't identify that just yet either.
And also keep in mind, there is a Raven pulling up energy in the main base for uThermal, which could lock down a few of those tanks. Won't have enough energy to get all of them, I don't think, but locking down a few could make the big difference in this game. And we're seeing these Marines, seeing that little small Hellion contingent at the front there, sees the tanks, confirms its mech, and now uThermal can prepare accordingly.
Thermal's actually going to start pushing out here just for the stim pack. Doesn't even wait for combat shields, which is now starting. So, I mean, I guess one of the things is you want to try and hit before there's too many tanks, right? But it's kind of like a tough balance. Do you go before there's too many tanks, or do you go for what is such an important upgrade in combat shields? I mean, SpeCial's going to see this army moving around. He's going to realize that's a lot of bio with that, and that he should just try and stay in a fairly defensive position to keep himself safe.
Yeah, all about playing mech is about waiting for the other player to come to you and kill themselves by attacking into a line of siege tanks.
Although there is still a Raven, remember, and he has quite a lot of energy, and so that is something here which could have a big effect. I mean, 4 interference matrices, that's 4 tanks out of the fight. That is a massive difference, and it could give uThermal a position to play with. A Liberator siege in the natural of uThermal, though, and that's going to be painful.
Oh, that's a brutal spot as well. Very hard for uThermal to get in there to dig that out as well. It's almost certainly going to lose things. Whatever he produces out of these barracks is going to get toasted down by that Liberator, and uThermal is starting his push. Slowly but surely, but SpeCial is pulling up his units. He has that defender's advantage, +1, just finishing for his mech units as well.
And Medevac leads the charge there just to give a bit of vision. And oh my god, uThermal is still losing SCVs. Those Marines, they are running around the block to get that Liberator. And he is not even going to get the kill just yet, as Vikings coming out from SpeCial too. Another way to just push this back. Would not be surprised if eventually he, after a couple more Vikings, maybe even goes in towards some Liberators. You can see uThermal's moving that Raven into location, getting ready to drop down the interference matrices, and here we go, 3-4 interference matrices drop. He gets the tanks to siege up, but there's just so much from SpeCial as that bio has to kite back and the interference matrices fade. uThermal's losing so many SCVs behind this as well.
Yeah, he certainly is. Doesn't have an economy at all to fall back into, and SpeCial ties it up. What a piece! Just waiting for him to come into the jaws of his mech army, and that's exactly how it played out. Yes, the Raven was there. Yes, it had full energy. Locked down 4 tanks, but there was more where that came from. And even the SCV pull from SpeCial to make sure that they're sort of like linebackers there, just pressing back, keeping uThermal away from his tank line while they were just sieging and shelling away at his army. That Liberator, if the Liberator didn't exist, it could have turned out very, very different. But when you go for 2-base attack like that, you really don't have a plan B.
Yeah, this was really brutal. The point where he just loses out so many SCVs, and I mean, at the end of the day as well, I just didn't really see that attack doing enough, and you saw it right then and there, right? Like, maybe he was forced into it because of the Liberator, but I think time was ticking anyways. He only has 4 interference matrices. The more tanks that come out, the less pushing ability he has into that army. He had to go sooner rather than later, and SpeCial just had way too much. That first CC came down super early, it got into play. He switched into tanks early enough as well, which is obviously very important. This went very well, as we are actually done with the old maps, and it's now time to get a little bit fresh, as it planned for map number 3.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of fresh, SpeCial is looking sharp. He's ready for map number 3. Oh man, I still favor him in the series, even though how great uThermal looked in game 1. So SpeCial is such a solid all-round Terran. uThermal has patches of greatness and has consistently been at the top, but hasn't consistently been the top Terran. I feel like he was at one point, though, uThermal.
uThermal definitely was at one point, because he was dominant at that stage where SpeCial hadn't really kind of come out of his shell yet. Kelazur was still more of an up-and-coming player rather than the BlizzCon level player we saw last year, right? So in 2016, just throughout 2016, I mean, let's throw back to Leipzig in 2016. uThermal made that round of 4 run where he just lost to Petit Drogo in game 5. He took down Showtime like 3 games to 1, but that was in an era when Protoss was not meant to lose against Terran. Adepts were 2-shotting Marines, which is insane, and yet uThermal was still able to push through. He was an innovator back then, and he really was, in that kind of era, I think, as you said, one of the best foreign Terrans, if not the best. And he's contending for that once again now. It's very difficult to know after the offseason. Not all of these players have been playing so much, and we haven't seen them play against each other, which is what we get the treat of seeing here this weekend.
Yeah, it really is a treat to see the regions collide. We just feel like it's been NA versus EU over and over again.
I love
uThermal feels good, man, right there in the crowd.
Loving the uThermal signs.
Oh yeah, lots of fans of uThermal in the crowd, and no doubt a bunch of fans of SpeCial as well, considering he has done so well for the non-Korean scene, going to that top 4. So much money, so much prestige won by SpeCial in 2017.
Beautiful crowd out there today.
In more ways than one.
In more ways than one?
Yeah. Not only high in count, but also quite aesthetic.
Quite aesthetic. And quite loud sometimes.
Sometimes. We'll see how loud you guys can get when we get into the meat and potatoes of this series here. Of course, next map's not going to decide the series just yet. We're going to get at least a couple more maps here.
Yeah, it's going to get quite exciting, I think, going into Acid Planet. I'm really just intrigued to see how the Terran versus Terran works on some of these new maps, because we haven't seen a ton of TVT just yet, and the TVT we did get to see, it was all about those other, older maps, right? We saw Hero Marine versus Cassius today, for example, and that wasn't on the new maps, so that could definitely change things up, shake things up a lot, so it'll get very interesting there as we are looking to complete this round of 16. What a round of 8 lineup we have queued up for us as well, by the way. Hyped for Neeb versus a Laser. That's going to be the matchup after this one. Yeah. What a way to start the quarterfinals before Showtime versus True, SpeCial versus Nurture, and of course Snoop waiting for the winner of this and what will be just an epic ZVT.
Another Europe versus America clash.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Like, Neeb's been a little bit shaky in PvZ as well. Remember, he had to go all the way to the wire against Zanster, who was a fantastic Zerg player, but not like not someone who you think of as like at the top Zerg in Europe versus like, Serals and your Nurchios and your Snoots and that sort of thing around here. And we saw the player area earlier looking a little empty because we have been culling the herd, Wardy.
From 80 players now down to 9 because we still have to eliminate 1 from the round of 16.
That's right.
But, yeah, the player area looking a little bit emptier than yesterday when it was all crowded. We had those long, big group stages.
That is an intelligent man right there. It's very sunny inside.
You just can't bear the heat. No, I don't know what no,
almost. I feel like you almost had something.
I almost had it. It just wasn't quite there. I'll admit that one.
Yes. Well, a little bit of a break there. I think SpeCial was fixing up his chair, actually, just to make sure he's...
Yeah, he had some issues with the chair. Now we're having a couple issues with the host. But it's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're only...
We're just teasing everybody.
Less than a minute away. Yeah, we're teasing. We're teasing. But we weren't kidding when we were saying that crowd looked damn good, though.
All right, well, we are ready to go. It is game number 3 here on Acid Planet, and the countdown has begun to see who's going to take the lead in this series and who's going to go on to match point. So far, it's been back and forth. Even within the games, I feel there's been moments of greatness from both. And let's see, just because this could be anything. This could be mech against bio. This could be mech on mech. It could be marine tank versus marine tank. And that's what's so crazy about this as we load it up, Maynard.
Oh, man, so excited. It's just TVT is like the most positional matchup for me in StarCraft 2. And when you have brand new maps, you don't actually know very comfortably what are the positions, where do I attack from? Like, what are the attack paths? Are there cliffs to abuse? It's all going to come down in this, the SpeCial and uThermal matching each other on Acid Planet for Game 3. Who is going to take the lead in this series? Let's find out shortly. In the bottom right here, this is SpeCial!
And in the top left-hand side, our red Terran player from Team Liquid. Let's hear it for uThermal!
Oh, I reckon he's got the crowd, Woody.
He has the signs in the crowd, he's got the sounds from the crowd, he's got everything.
Signs and sounds, that's what you want as a player.
It's pretty much everything.
It is.
I just need the smells from the crowd. I don't know how you do that in support of a certain player.
Well, you don't always want the smells from a crowd at an esports tournament. Not always.
All right, well, obviously in TVT, it's maybe one of the most important matchups when it comes to the first minute and a half of the game, because it tells us so much about how these players are going to open. But already, you can see no 17-second gas from uThermal, but there is, of course, one coming down here from SpeCial. And so this is the first time in the series we're going to see that clash of an expansion from uThermal versus the one base opening of SpeCial. So it'll be all eyes on SpeCial to apply pressure early, into maybe a faster third CT later on to catch up a little bit if he doesn't get a couple extra worker kills. See how this plays out.
Yeah, this is looking like basically the same opener as Game 1 for SpeCial on Black-Pink.
Yeah.
See how it rolls out here. Of course, we sort of expect the Cyclone meta from SpeCial with that second gas and map control, and just trying to keep the guy away from your natural here is going to be the name of the game for uThermal.
Oh yeah, and one of the great things about this here is that on Acid Plant you don't really have that ramp up into the natural, right? And so Cyclone pushes, for example, from SpeCial early on, definitely can get in there and force attacks and deal damage. You know, we saw it in the last game. uThermal tried to take an SCV and a Reaper up the ramp on Blackpink into the natural, and he got shut down. And a lot of that's with the ramp play. It's just straight away, you lose the first shot or two because of going up a ramp into high ground. Now that doesn't happen on Acid Plant, and well, SpeCial has more than that just Plant. We're going to see the Proxy Starport.
Yes, indeed. Now, is this going to be Proxy Liberator? Is it going to be Proxy Banshee? Oh, ooh, that Reaper looked like it was on the way, but pulled back.
I really believed that was going to keep on going. And for a moment, I was like, oh my god, uThermal knows him so well. But no, he was just checking around, just here and there, and just going to kind of sit back a little bit for now, just being safe. And that's the thing with a Reaper expand, you do have to be a bit safer because he doesn't want to go too far out there. He doesn't want to be caught with 2 Reapers running into his natural, because that could be deadly for him. And even if he loses that Reaper, especially if he's the expander against a one-base play, that's where it gets very difficult for him, as this Starport is about to finish, and probably just a Liberator right away. SpeCial to get that aggression into the mineral line.
Hey, sending those Reapers and those Hellions across the map here. uThermal's SCV moving out for a bit of a scout around the outside. Will it find this Starport in time? Either way, uThermal's kind of locked into his game plan at this moment. It's too little too late as he sees that Starport now.
He sees it though, which is good information, but SpeCial is in his natural expansion. uThermal has 2 Cyclones on the way up. Now, if he gets his 2 Cyclones out and deals with these Reapers and Hellion quickly, then he can turn them around and go and deal with the Liberator, and that's going to be very nice for him. A couple workers lost so far is fine, because he is still up a base. SpeCial is yet to expand.
Yes, indeed. SCV's just stop producing a Liberator. Stop it.
Wow, building the supply depot there to block a tech lab from coming down. That's cute. I'm not sure if there was the intention of building a tech lab there.
Well, I mean, you can just lift it and place the tech lab somewhere else.
That's kind of part of the thing as well, as the Starport is going to lift up and get back home. But now this push is all going to focus at the front. The Liberator may siege up the ramp, and that's awkward, because now you can't come down this ramp very easily as uThermal.
Yeah, how do you lock onto that Liberator from the main base here? It's not close enough in range. He's going to take some liberation shots if he wants to come down there and decides to pull back. The natural under siege here, he's losing SCVs, is uThermal.
Oh, this is a little bit awkward. I guess he could move forwards and kind of lock onto the Liberator and then move back and take a shot or two, but I feel as though that's exactly what SpeCial's waiting for, to then be able to just push up the ramp and take advantage of the lower health Cyclones. So uThermal has to move away from the natural. Now again, it's not a massive issue just yet because he doesn't, SpeCial, have his own natural expansion finished. And he has started fast at third base, but uThermal has his own third CC starting too. I think SpeCial very smartly knows that after another Cyclone or 2 comes out, he's going to struggle to get much more done here with that army, so he backs away before losing it.
Starport still proxied, finding a different place to rest to produce those 8 units. Another Liberator coming out here for SpeCial on the other side of the map. uThermal sees that SpeCial's pulled back. He's given him room to breathe, retake that natural, and sees that the CC is finishing up for SpeCial as well. So uThermal, you know, does still have that orbital complete, is on location, so he's able to start mining right away. But he is down a little bit in workers, and his third CC is a little bit later than SpeCial's. But small edges for both players here and there.
Viking is in position to turn around that Liberator. I mean, that's what uThermal needs after being slowed down just a little bit in the last few moments. Cyclone on Cyclone warfare. This time uThermal can't micro his way out of this one. Maybe a couple of Hellions can help him to turn this around. He will go for it. At least buy him the time to get the Cyclones further away, which honestly, in a TVT, it really is kind of like the chest of gold that you need to keep alive. You cannot just be giving away your gold coins.
Absolutely not. Extra gas is going down for SpeCial. You can see that when you go for this unit composition, it is so expensive in gas and minerals, and you need those CCs to be on location. Those guys that need to be taken, they need to be saturated immediately to be able to afford all that constant production. Liberator going into the main again. uThermal has Cyclones in position, so he can lock on just outside of that liberation zone.
Wow, nice pull away of the SCVs. Doesn't lose a single one here. And okay, yes, lose some mine time, but look out for... Okay. Oh!
Ooh.
Wow. Send them back at the perfect time as well.
Look good, Woody. Good call.
Wow. Yeah, I was actually going to say he's going to lose one there, but he actually nailed it. Really perfect.
That's a very forward play space here for uThermal.
It's actually one of the things I love about Acid Plant, the different ways you can expand, but hold that fort because Cyclone warfare is beginning. uThermal does have the numbers, and he will be able to start pushing SpeCial back. Nice Reaper grenade, though, obviously kind of just makes things a bit more awkward, a little bit harder to chase. If that Liberator is still trying to find an opportunity. Starport has gone on a holiday once again, by the way, for SpeCial. It's relocating for the second time this game.
All that high ground, though, for SpeCial. He's taking a lot of these Cyclones away from uThermal here, and uThermal has to pull back.
Yeah, that wasn't pretty at all, losing a couple of Cyclones just like that, and all of a sudden SpeCial maybe feels the opportunities there to attack once again. uThermal's even landing a Viking. That's not really a good sign. Pulling SCVs too. SpeCial just found himself an opening here while he comes towards the third base, and uThermal is still pulling those SCVs in towards this. Well, that was definitely a scary moment or so, but uThermal will survive. And we'll stay in it for now as both players losing a couple of workers here and there.
I feel like with the Liberator and also that SCV pool, SpeCial's been denying a lot of the mining time from uThermal. Like, it actually is a substantial amount of denied mining time. Third base now going location for SpeCial, a little bit later than uThermal, but again, like those little edges here and there from that Cyclone attack.
Both of them actually take the forward third base here, so maybe just the way the TVT plays, you want to be attacking forwards rather than spreading units around the sides or around the top and bottom. So you're not going to be seeing still these Cyclones of SpeCial, but he hasn't really reinforced this for a few moments, and so uThermal does at the moment have the numbers, but there's a couple more Cyclones arriving, and it really only takes the 1 or 2 Cyclone difference to completely turn this around as uThermal tries to fight, but realizes he doesn't have enough here, and he has to pull SCVs yet again.
He certainly does. More denied mining time. He is going to stand and fight. Looks like SpeCial feels like he can take in a Cyclone or 2 out, but at the cost of 1 or 2 of his own. Back at home, SpeCial is getting double armory. There's no armory yet for uThermal, so the mech upgrade is going to start to come into this game as the game goes on.
It actually used to be a big thing to rush double armory for the Cyclone player because they benefit so much from the attack and armor upgrades in Cyclone versus Cyclone because of how fast Cyclones attack. But obviously that was kind of one of the Cyclone metas that actually died out a little bit just because of how aggressive it started getting. So now uThermal will get across here and he will be able to start sieging up mineral lines of his own. He needs some eco damage. He's been 10 workers behind for a little while. But it's not just that, it also forces these Cyclones of SpeCial to turn around, to go back home for a little while. And for uThermal to get that kind of moment or two for himself, to not worry about pulling SCVs into Cyclones to defend, well, that really is fantastic. Although another Liberator of SpeCial is doing the job right now in uThermal's main base.
I feel like the Liberator of, or Liberators, plural, of SpeCial have been putting in a lot more work than that one from uThermal. They've got some damage done across the map. SpeCial in charge here with a very severe economic advantage. He's got those extra 10 workers. His army supply is also climbing as well, and he's getting better upgrades. It's already up to the point where he's dropping those extra 3 factories for that full-on mech play. Oh, locking onto that one Liberator. Forcing uThermal back. Doesn't lose it at least.
Yeah, this time the Liberator gets away, but we've definitely not seen that every time. As a couple of Hellions try and make the natural, they'll not make it all the way in there, as we'll see this Liberator just waiting until those Cyclones move a bit further out of position, perhaps, to get its opportunity to come in and siege up, or maybe just going for 2 at the same time, although this Viking is also still very well placed as uThermal really has to minimize what he loses now. 10 workers down still. His army supply is starting to catch up, but he's behind on upgrades, and SpeCial has a lot of money. Once SpeCial spends that money, that'll go a long way, as that was a nice 5-worker pickoff, and he gets that Liberator before it finishes siege, and this one will get 2 or 3 workers.
Yeah, both players just liberating each other. And so the map is pretty much the only harassment option is they have such tight defenses on the ground for run-bys and that sort of thing aren't really super realistic. Oh, catching that one Liberator in the middle of the map here. Remember, these Liberators from SpeCial keep getting pumped out of this this proxy starport, which is getting a reactor now as well, so it can even make even more.
I love that it's slowly making its way back home, just little by little, step by step. Now it's like, okay, this is close enough, as we're going to be seeing again, though. The Liberator comes in and picks off 5, 6 workers, a Cyclone as well. I mean, this Liberator definitely paid for itself, and more of that lost mining time too. It really hurts here as uThermal pushing across the map, but I don't think uThermal can take Cyclone fights anymore. He doesn't have +1 attack, nor +1 armor. That means that SpeCial just has a huge advantage in any sort of fight here that involves Cyclones. So I think uThermal is more so going to be threatening than actually committing.
Yeah, maybe just trying to make SpeCial sweat a little bit in his boots. But both players will scan each other. They see the upgrades of each other's armies. Second armory going down for uThermal. He feels like he needs to catch up with these upgrades, but it'll be very, very tough, though. SpeCial wants to fight. His army is better right now.
Yeah, he definitely does. He wants to take advantage of the 1-1 upgrades before uThermal gets his own. He's going to get +1 weapons, but that still is a +1 armor deficit. And that will still go a long way here. As uThermal in a bit of an odd spot. I guess he's going to get a surround, maybe? Wow, this could go very weird, because uThermal's actually going to start getting himself into a bit of a concave as well. I don't really know how this one's going, Maynard, but it feels as though SpeCial is winning out on both the left and the right sides for a moment or two. Maybe not with reinforcements, but I think at the end of the day, it's still been a fairly even fight in terms of Cyclones lost.
Both players trading Cyclones for Cyclones here. The base,
oh, the
Thermal does live for now, but that run by, oh man, these Hellions getting a ton of work done. 16 SCVs and then some going down. It's an entire mineral line of saturation. Oh, the CC picked up for the anti-air. GG. SpeCial. How often do you see Cyclones anti-air, without their upgrades, mind you, picking off a CC, Woody?
Not very often, honestly. Basically never. Although they also did a lot of work too when it was on the ground, and Cyclones are pretty darn good on the ground, let me tell you that. But that was SpeCial. Really put himself into a good position there, really just kind of, you know, getting ahead early and keeping his lead. You know, he played it well. Good harassment. He kept uThermal just a little bit behind on the work account. Got his own third CC up a little bit faster, and he got the job done. uThermal really has to think now, well, how do I approach this? Because honestly, so far, every single opening has gone the way of SpeCial. Even in that game number 1, it was all about SpeCial until he just got completely out-microed on the third base. And that's when uThermal turned that one around. So what does uThermal do to just get himself into a better position from the get-go and to play that mid-game, which he's obviously so very good at?
Both players with pretty impeccable macro, SpeCial winning strategically, and uThermal's strength being that micro coming in clutch for him in game 1. SpeCial finding the advantage here, finding himself on match point heading into game 4. It's going to be on backwater for our next battlefield between these two players.
I think SpeCial would have to feel very good about going into a round of 8 against Snoot, because yes, Snoot beat him a couple of times last year in WCS events. In fact, in Valencia, I think Snoot 3-0'd SpeCial in about 50 minutes of mech games, which is quite fast for mech games. But he actually already beat Snoot this weekend in Group Stage 3. And so, you know, he beat Snoot once, he can probably beat him again, right? So SpeCial's got to be feeling real good right now. 2-1 up, he's 1 map away from the quarterfinals and starting to be able to repeat his performance of 2017, which just considered us to, top 8 after top 8 after top 8, and top 4s.
That's right. Will this be the year for SpeCial to finally win one? It's just amazing to say that, you know, SpeCial has done so well, he got so deep in the global finals, but he's not won a WCS yet. He's not won a Premier title.
Yeah, SpeCial always seems to be the player who does so very well. He gets so far, and time after time, sometimes Neeb gets in his way, and then sometimes he gets past Neeb and he gets stopped yet again, but he really could be. The thing is, he looks on form, right? He looks as though he's bringing his A game, and a SpeCial that brings his A game can take down anybody in the WCS circuit.
Yeah, I was about to mention, actually, that looking at this bracket, is there any player that SpeCial's honestly afraid of?
I don't think so, and you know what I think is even better for him is that I think TVZ is one of his stronger matchups with Mech, and if he wins this, it's TVZ in the round of 8, it's TVZ in the round of 4, and honestly, there's a fairly decent chance a laser comes through the top side, right? And he could TVZ his way to that victory, but hey, that's looking very far out.
It is. We're just sort of talking about possibilities here, theory crafting. Wardy and myself, we like to do that. Pretty big passionate followers of this game and the scene. And we are enjoying this tournament to the fullest here. Backwater is loading. Will uThermal tie it up to a piece, or will SpeCial get the 3-1?
I'm actually super interested in this map because it is huge. It's going to be very interesting to see just how this plays out in the mirrored matchup here between the Terrans. We're getting into it. Maynard, take us away.
Oh, if you don't mind, it's my distinct honor and privilege in the bottom right here to introduce this guy currently on match point. This is Mexico's SpeCial!
Top left-hand side of the map, down a map. But looking to fight back, the red Terran player is uThermal.
And he is going for something pretty interesting here, Wardy. SCV's across the map, he's done playing these cheeky macro games.
You know what, uThermal sometimes just excels the best because he is able to throw down a couple of racks on the wrong side of the map and take advantage of his opponents. Now SpeCial, his first depot is in position to start kind of blocking away the Reaper jump up. So that's interesting. See how that continues on here. But I guess the second depot, does that fully block it? I'm not 100% familiar with the Reaper jump on this map yet.
I've not tried it myself. The games that I played on Backwater have been pretty regular for me. I played, when I was laddering just a couple days ago in the hotel room, this is the map that I played on the most. Really enjoyed it. I love the way it's laid out. That pocket third base, quite nice. Of course, it has a bit of weakness to drops and that sort of thing.
Did you get proxy 2 racks still on?
Not yet. I don't ladder on EU, so my account needs a little bit of time to stabilize as to, you know, which place.
In fairness, I mean, it's a super large map. If I'm ever expecting a proxy in a TVT, this would not really be one of the maps I'd expect it on because of its size. SpeCial, though, nonetheless, is not expanding quickly. He says, okay, there is not a ramp up into my natural. I'm going to play the one base opening again, which we've seen from him multiple times. So those first Reapers coming out, and now uThermal will send his second SCV into scout, in to see what's going on. He sees no expansion. Already, that is a good start from SpeCial. I mean, it means that his factory is up a little bit faster. He'll get a Hellion or a Cyclone out a little bit sooner here to help him defend.
SCV coming in here with the Reaper. It's a very, very quick Reaper for uThermal. SpeCial realizing what he's up against. His own Reaper, though, higher in hit points. Nearly nailing that Reaper of uThermal. In fact, body blocking that SCV as well.
SCV for an SCV so far, but SpeCial will be happy with that trade because obviously this is a lot better for him in general at the moment. He's We are going to be seeing a Hellion on the way initially, not a Cyclone, because a Cyclone just takes a little bit too long to build. So the Hellion will help you to stabilize a lot faster, even though a Cyclone will pretty much never die to these Reapers. We're going to be seeing uThermal gets another couple of SCV kills now, and now he's starting to get some work done in this mineral line.
He certainly is, but he's going to get more done than that so far. Oh, 3 Reapers getting on top of that one there, SpeCial, but he keeps them alive. Raids the depot and catches him here.
That's huge. I mean, that was really nice, leaving it down just in case uThermal tried to get out that side or bring a Reaper in that way. It could delay it, but now he loses his Reapers because of that, and so uThermal, he did some okay damage here, but definitely not as much as he would have liked. I mean, he would have liked to do a bit more and at least get rid of another couple of units of SpeCial to stop him from coming across the map and to stop him from being aggressive. Because right now, uThermal's own factory is just on the way up. He's still making a couple more Reapers. See what he can get done with those. There's just a Marina, another Hellion on the way out currently from SpeCial.
Yeah, he's looking safer and safer as he's against these Reapers here of uThermal. His Hellion count is getting up. 1 Reaper broken off for SpeCial to get to the main of uThermal, but with good control, uThermal will clean this up.
Yeah, that was nice. He actually was very lucky to see. I don't know if he was lucky because SpeCial actually ran past the barracks, but he saw the Reaper coming across, so he was able to respond very quickly. The Hellions see where the barracks are, and they actually see those barracks still producing, so SpeCial's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to stay at home then, because you're probably looking to do something with Reapers once again. Obviously, if the Hellions are in position, those Reapers shouldn't be able to do much, but what a scout for uThermal. Coming into that main base with the barracks, he will see the cloak on the way on the starport. That's great information. Just seeing a factory building without an add-on right now, you know, already so many Hellions out. This one's probably a Cyclone, so he gets really good information here.
Yeah, as soon as he saw that spinning tech lab, he dropped that engineering bay back at home so we can get that Viking out, get those turrets out, just be super safe against those Banshees, which are going to be on the way here for SpeCial. And this is going to stabilize this game.
Yeah, I think uThermal's going to go into Cyclones to help him defend. Probably just a Viking here to help push back the Banshee a little bit more easily. Just play kind of a defensive follow-up, and just take note, uThermal has a bit of an faster expansion, and neither of them are expanding on the low ground, so it's not as though SpeCial doesn't have to float his down or anything with the map control that he should have here, with the Banshees and just the better units on the ground as well at the moment. As this is uThermal, again, maybe didn't do enough super early, but he's done enough to stay in the game at least, and to, you know, one mistake here from SpeCial or something, if these Banshees get defended super well, uThermal could be right back in this, so that's a nice cloak. There was not the preemptive scan there that we were talking about before.
And there is Viking after uThermal, so he can chase, but the SpeCial's not going overextending here with his Banshee, doing a nice job with it so far, just finding free damage, pulling back, and has a second Banshee to marry up as well. uThermal's Reapers, you know, they still exist. They are still giving him map control technically, but they're not going to be much use to uThermal as the game goes on.
Sees the second Banshee. Ooh, the Banshee gets 2 of the Reapers here. I mean, it's just nice to still have them, because if you do find the kind of the loop around and move into the main, they will kill a few SCVs, and it's one of the things that's probably SpeCial is keeping a couple of units at least at home for, just to deal with that. So I'm going to see this barrack still picking up some further info, but again, I mean, there's not really too much for uThermal to pick up on. I'm just a little bit worried. SpeCial's probably getting ready to push in the next few moments, and with Banshees and Cyclones, a few Hellions to tank, there's a lot of damage output in this army of SpeCial, and uThermal has nowhere near as much. That could be where he just falls apart, honestly.
Unlike game 1, all the Banshees of SpeCial are still alive. They haven't been picked off, so they are starting to climb up there in number, and there's those Cyclones 2 by 2 being made from that reactive factory for SpeCial.
2 Cyclones coming up at a time. I mean, that's just where it gets dangerous. The first Banshee starting to deal damage, and uThermal cannot afford for his Cyclones to be low before the Cyclones of SpeCial start to join this fight. Nice block of that Cyclone up there, is able to push the Hellions back, but now he has to fight this, and just look at the lack of damage output as we see 1 Interference Matrix is thrown down from that Raven, but that's all it's going to be able to add on here, as uThermal is losing SCVs while already behind in the work account, and the Cyclone number is just a little bit too high.
Oh, man.
And uThermal does not have enough as SpeCial takes down another Viking.
Certainly does. A bit of an unceremonious end, but that is SpeCial getting a 3-1 victory. And he will move on to the round of 8 to face almost just all Zergs on the way through. So SpeCial looking extremely strong here. Will this be the moment? Will this be the tournament for him to start off 2018 with a bang?
It really could be. I mean, again, another top 8 performance at WCS. Recovering from what was not a great Montreal performance at the end of the last circuit before he came in and killed it at BlizzCon, of course. SpeCial was able to take down uThermal 3 games to 1, goes to the round of 8 to play against Snoot, and that will be our final match of the day in a few hours. But we have got the entire of the quarterfinals still coming up here very soon.
And he's about to go to interview with the inspiration between for one of his old ladder accounts. It is Anna Prosser on stage with our winner, SpeCial.
That's right. SpeCial, you made some good work of your opponent in those games. How are you feeling?
I was pretty nervous because I think he's pretty good, but my game went as planned, and it went well.
You said your game went as planned. Tell us a little bit about your TVT strategy.
It's just something I've been working with my friend TY, and he used it in GSL, so I just used it here, and it's just like a defensive play style and try to defend perfectly, and then you get ahead. That's basically how I played.
And now you're moving forward in the tournament. How are you feeling about your results, and do you think you have a chance at winning?
I don't know. I go match by match. I'm feeling pretty good, so hopefully I can do well. Hopefully I'm not too tired by the time I play Snoot, because it's going to be a lot more matches, but I can win, I think.
Is there anyone in particular that you are excited to play or that you think is a big obstacle for you?
Like last year, I would say like I would be scared of this opponent or this opponent, but now I've grown to learn that if you prepare well for any opponent, it's okay. So it's not really that anyone scares me. I respect everyone, but as long as I can prepare a little bit, I think I can win.
That's a great mindset. Is there anything that you want to share with your fans who may be watching you?
Thanks for supporting me and watching my games, and hopefully I can do well in my next match.
We wish you well too. Everyone, let's hear it one more time for SpeCial as we head back to the desk.
Thank you again, Anna, as always. A wonderful interview from a wonderful man winning this series, SpeCial, as we got to see, well, some Roomba on Roomba action, lots of Cyclones shooting volley upon volley against each other, and then holding the cheddar to bring the smack back in that last game.
Isn't it?
My favorite?
Yeah. Cheddar or Roombas?
Cheddar or Roombas.
All of it.
They're both pretty, they both
just
fit.
The whole mumbo jumbo you just spewed out.
Well,
that not many people understood.
The less sense the things I say make, I will say, the more comfortable I am. But I do fancy myself a bit of TVT here and there. The mech memes can be fun. Cyclones, it's so weird. They're so good. That game on Catalyst, yeah. I think we saw a perfect example of if the more that you micro the Cyclones, the worse they usually do in the fights.
Oh yeah, that was on Catalyst. Yeah, that's actually the perfect example. I mean, the way that Cyclones work, the more you micro them, especially if you're really severe in your micro, and that sounds really weird, but like the farther you pull them back to micro, the worse it's going to end up being. But, that last game, starting off with a T-Rax against a one base, like a one Rax, or not a one Rax expansion,
yeah.
It's always tough. And then the only way he's going to come back, I think, is maybe if he had a missile turret at the front of his natural. The Banshees were so much damage output that otherwise an SCV pool of Cyclones usually takes on superior numbers of Cyclones.
Yep.
Too bad.
I think it was also very smart of SpeCial to make sure to close off the cliff that the Reapers could have taken to get into his main base faster. He was able to buy himself a good bit of time there. And when you're dealing with those types of early pushes in TVT, every second is so important because those barracks are going to be placed by the cliff, and having to run all the way around lets you get that Hellion out. The Hellion was a crucial component for dealing with the Reaper attack. And, well, we saw everything what happened after.
Where were the BCs, Nathanias?
You know, not everybody can be as good at me as this game.
I see.
Just saying. We're going to take a look at the bracket now, catch y'all up to speed on the things that have been going down here in Leipzig. We've got our top 8, a Laser and Neeb, Showtime and True, Sarah Linerchi, and SpeCial versus Snoot. SpeCial versus Snoot always delivers.
A rematch of last year's Valencia stop, where it was in the semifinals that they met, with Snoot winning 3-0, and I'm sure SpeCial is eager to try and take a revenge here.
Point. That's a good point.
We are done with the first half of our matches for today, but don't go anywhere. There's plenty more StarCraft action where that came from. We've got our next match coming up as we are going to move into the top 4. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a Laser playing against Neeb, the only 2 people to win a circuit event last year. We'll have to kill each other in the first round of the round of 8. It should be an amazing match. We'll see you in just a few moments. For that, you're watching the World Championship Series here in Leipzig.